Hello and good day to you. Today's video, we are demonstrating the use of a stencil in making a shape in our stenciling technique of 12 crafts of card making. For this project, we need a palette plate or just a flat plate to put our colors. We need paint brushes, so I'll just take one. You can use a scruffy brush, you can use a flat brush. So I'll just take one of the flat brushes. This brush is by Crelando, sold in Lidl. Contains 12 brushes. You've seen me use the fan. This is a flat, and you see me use the round and the fan. So here is the flat. We need a masking tape. We need liquid glue, so I'm using Uhu. You can get this from Poundland or Pound Shop. I'm using paint. This paint is sold in Lidl. It's acrylic. I don't know the price again, but I think it's between $2.99, between $1.99 to $2.99. So I'll just use the red. If you want to use the watercolor oil paint, you are free to use it. We need scissors. These are wallpaper scissors. I got this from a long time ago from Poundland or Pound Shop. You can get that. We need a scoreboard and a scoring tool. We need the Craft layer medallion stencil. It has the stencil part. There's a stencil. They have three parts. You can see it. We have the pattern part. There's a pattern part, and the other parts in it. We have the silhouette, and we have the shape. The mask. The mask can fit into the silhouette shape. So even if you want a thin border, you can just put the mask in, and then you can staple, and you have a very thin border too. So we need cardstock, 300 grams hammered card, 270 grams just plain card, can be Vanguard or whatever card you desire. This is by Crelando. Got it from Lidl's too. I think it's about $2.99 or so. And it contains, for the one of 25, which is of 270 grams, you have 25 cards in it. And it's larger than an A4. It's larger than an A4 card. Let me put it on the grain so I see it clearly. And we need a rubber mat. We use it for stencil. You can use it for stencil to embossing mat. The embossing mat should be able to fit your die cutting machine or die cutting stroke embossing machine. This is a crossover. It has been discontinued, but they have other die cutting and embossing machine. So because we need that embossing machine, we need the plates that fit into the embossing machine. You've seen in previous videos that I've used the grand caliber plate in this crossover. That's because of the mechanism in the machine that the machine has. You have some knots that you can reduce, but this is a plate for the crossover. Because of this I've forgotten how to call it now. So the first thing we need to do, I'll just put everything aside to clear my work surface. So what we are going to do is to score our card. Place the card landscape wise on the scoreboard, and on the A4 gatefold, score the card. Flip the card vertically and score at the back on the same score line. This is because we're using a heavyweight card and want it to bend easily. We don't want it to have rough edges, so it's necessary breaking it on both sides. Then it bends easily and you have a nice fold score line. Flip it horizontally and score on the other side. A4 gatefold. Then flip it vertically to score the back, and then flip it again to score on the same score line on the front, and it will bend. Then you can neatly burnish the ends. This gives a nice professional edge. Okay, so we have our gatefold card. What we're going to do now is place a stencil, the pattern stencil on it, because we are going to emboss. And for us to emboss, we're going to bring in the die cutting and embossing machine. And we're going to place So for the combination, you place the mat, one of the cutting plates, you place the embossing mat, you place the card that you want to emboss, and then you place the stencil. So when we're placing the stencil, we'll make sure that the tip of the stencil, we'll make sure that this pointy edge is in this gatefold. And make sure our card is straight. We don't want our stencil to be destroyed while we're embossing it. Just trying to make sure it's stencil fit and don't come out of the plate. It's an 8-inch stencil, so it should fit properly. If you want to, you can use masking tape to just stick some ends to the mat, so I'll do that. I'm using masking tape to stick the ends of the stencil to the mat. That's because we are going to, after embossing, we're going to color in, and I don't want the stencil to move. So now we have the cutting plate, embossing mat, our card, then the stencil on top, and we have the other cutting plate on top. I'm using setting 7, between 6 and 7 to feed in. Setting 7, sorry. Other machines will tell you what size to use, what setting to use. So I just go a second time to bring it on this other side. Just gently lift the first plate, and here we have embossed design. I'm not going to lift it to show you the embossed design, but I have one that I've already embossed. I'll show you the embossed. I'm not going to lift it now to show you the embossed design because I might not be able to properly line it when I do that. So I have one that I've already embossed, and you can see the faint embossing there. I don't know if you can. So I'm just going to zoom in. So if you can see the faint embossing there. You can see the faint embossing there. So that's one that I did earlier. So I'm using red acrylic paint. You can use watercolor if you want to. Just going to put I hope that's not too much. Stain my fingers. So with the paintbrush, I'm just going to tap into the paint. So with the paintbrush, I'll just brush the paint. You can use a scruffy brush and stipple into the stencil or the design. And you can decide to play with colors. You do one color on one part and another color on the other side. My stencil, I didn't place it well, so some part of the design is out. So what I will do, when I'm trimming, I'll work on that. So I finished painting. So we finished painting. I'll put it aside and leave it to, okay, I need to remove my stencil. So remove the masking tape. I'll wash this later with soap and water. And I'll put this to dry. It's time for us to make our shape. When that pattern is dry, we'll have to cut around it. So it's time for us to make our shape. For the base card, we're going to use the red. Place it. That means you need a card larger than the actual size. You can use an A3 card. Place it landscape wise, and this time I'll score on the A4 gatefold as I did for that. But if you notice, because I'm using this card, it's a bit larger than an A4. I'm putting it on the border of the board, of the scoreboard. So I'm just putting it on it. Then I'm going to score on the A4 gatefold. I'll flip, I'll do same score on the same line because it's a heavyweight card and I want it. I want to have a nice crease. I'll flip it horizontally and I'll do same on the other side. Okay, so just do this one more time. And when I fold, it's going to score easily. Then I'll burnish it. So now we have a nice gatefold card. If we place a silhouette stencil over it, you will notice that we have, if you take a closer look, let's go close. You will notice that we have nice edges at the ends. So if we place this silhouette, the stencil silhouette over it, you will see that we have nice edges around it. So I'll just tilt it like so. It looks like a leaf. Okay. I don't have this edge well, so I'm going to just insert properly. And if we place this is going to smaller. So we use this, we use the mask for this. So since we've gotten our shape, we're going to put this aside. And if I have to bring this pattern here, I know it's not yet dried, and you place it, you find that it's a little bit larger than the pattern, the stencil pattern. So let me use this one. Oh, stained too. The mask is a little bit larger than the stencil pattern. So the mask is from this these stitching dots. That's where the mask is. So we're going to use it and cut the shape, the second shape out. Just going to clean. So if we place this silhouette stencil over the red Gatefold card, our base card, you will see that we have some nice edge around this. This is nice for us because that means we can make another form of another layering before our main card. And if we place the mask, if we place the mask in, you will notice that we have, that means we can place the mask in, and although the pattern is still stained, I'm just going to try and put it over a bit. And when you if we put the mask, let's put a color that is vibrant on the. When we put the mask over it, you find that the mask with a stitching line on this pattern. Placing the silhouette stencil over the base card, you will notice that we have nice edges around at the end here. If you can, we have nice edges here. Taking the pattern stencil, and if we place the mask over it, I'll just bring this in. If we place the mask over it, you will notice that the stitching on the pattern stencil, there's a stitching at the end. After the pattern, there's a stitching there. That the mask fits the stitching. That means we can have a nice border. So what we're going to do, alternatively, we can place, what we are going to do is place the mask on the card and start cutting. Alternatively, because we want a nice edge, because when we put it on the card, let me bring this other one. We want to create an inner border and an outer border. That's a nice border around, like a frame around those pattern. Because we want to create it like a frame. We want to create an outer border and an inner border. The mask is going to do that for us. So if we place our mask, let me place it so that you see. You will see that a portion of the mask, it's not, the design is not just centered. That's for the gold card, it's not just centered. You have to go a bit off to one side, and when you do it on the other side, okay, place it on the other side, you will see that it's not centered, because if you put it in the center, you won't have a nice edge for this inner part, except you don't want an inner part to it. So what we are going to do is place the So what we are going to do is place the stencil. If we place it and cut, we're not going to have a nice straight edge. So I was already cutting this. So we're going to place it on the edge, but we'll leave a little border. We'll go off the edge a bit so that we can have the nice border that we want. So I'm just going to make sure it lines properly, and I'll trim any excess off. This is supposed to be like so. Alternatively, if you have a stylus, you can just place it on the card and trace around it. Then you won't need to hold the mask as I did, because holding the mask makes it move. So just place the stylus on the card and you trace around it just to put the marking, and then you have something to cut. But when you cut one part, the good thing about it is that you can place this and use this to cut the other side. So I'm just going to place it on this side. and use it, because here we have a straight edge. So I'm going to place it here and then cut around the circle. That means I'm using the first side as a template. So here we have, I think it should fit properly. So put a nice border and we'll glue it to the front of the card. So place it in front of the card. This other Gatefold card is dried, so I'll just trim around it. I'll put this aside. I'm going to trim around this. So I'll trim around this other one, the inner part. We'll put it in the card. Oh, there's a little stain here. I'm sure the gatefold didn't close properly. So I just trim around this. Because there's an embossing in there. I think you can see the embossing. Okay. I'm going to put it inside the card. Because of the stain here, I'm just going to flip it and glue this inside the card. So be fast about that. Oh, I forgot something. So we need to cut the shape of the, we need to cut out the shape of the card because it's a shape card. So I've cut out every topper now. So what I'm going to do next is to cut out the shape. And to cut out the shape, I'm going to glue this first part over it. And then I'll put a little border at the end here. Then I'll cut the shape. I'll do the same for the other side. Be careful when you put glue towards the edge of your work. If you want, you can open it and line it properly. I didn't make an inner and outer border. I want just the border to be out. But if you want that, you have to make that measurement. So you have to make this a bit smaller. So taking the scissors, I'm going to put a nice border at the end here. So taking the scissors, I'm going to make sure I have a nice border because I want the red to show a bit. Though it's our base card, I still want it to show. And I'm going to just, you can trace this with a stylus, but I'll do this freehand. And when you get to the edge, this is where the grip of the card is. You don't need to cut that. So you don't cut this edge because that you want to flap, you want it to open. You want the hinge there. We can keep this and use it for corners. You can cut them and use them for corners. You can cut flowers out of them. So here we have the shape of our card. Just going to layer the, okay, the inside. Let's do the inside first. Put glue. So because of this line here, I'm going to put the glue over this part. You can see the embossing. So I'm going to put the glue. I will glue this as the insert. So I'll place this on top. Trying to get a nice border around the edge. Equal border, equal distance, equidistance. Just gonna try and clean this edge here because I have a little glue there. So here's our beautiful card. It's a shape card and it opens. So here we have it, and it stands perfectly because we have a nice flat edge on top here. You can use it any size, you can be of any side. You can make it an easel card if you put another part in it, and it will be like a lip shape. So here's our card, finished card, and we made it using the layer medallion stencil of Plaid Crafts or Plaid Enterprise. So thanks for joining me for this video of 12 crafts of card making, the technique of stenciling, and the use of the stencil as a shape greeting card design. You can visit the blog anino.ogunjobi.com to see what's happening in the crafting industry. Until next time, happy crafting, happy designing, and bye for now.